All right. We are live with another episode of the Inner Circle podcast. Feels good to be back. Still waiting on some of the team to join up. Do apologize for the tardiness as usual. Uh, it's funny because we set the time for 10 o'clock and we're like, okay, let's push it back to 10:30. We set the time for 10:30. We can't even make 10:30. We're pushing it back to like 11 o'clock. It's out of control. We really have to get our schedulings together. Did you get a chance to see Black Panther?
I did indeed. Yes.
And what were your thoughts on it?
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great film. It really shows how far the MCU has come as a whole. Just really quickly, it had a great villain, great motivations, and plot there. I'll keep it very vague for sake of spoilers, obviously. And that was handled very well in sort of a almost heartbreaking fashion where, well, I don't want to get too deep, but it was very well handled with the villain. Andy Serkis was a riot. He was having way too much fun playing Claw, and that was fantastic. T'Challa is awesome. Chadwick Boseman has this presence where he comes on screen and you instantly see royalty. You think, yeah, that is a king. That is Wakandan royalty right there, and he played that presence well. The entire cast was fantastic. I have some minor quibbles. The CGI in the final fight took a nosedive, and I'm not really sure what was up with that because earlier it was really good. But, those minor quibbles aside, it was great. You should definitely go see it if you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it.
You definitely need to go see it. You absolutely need to see it. It's really good. And again, without getting into spoilers, I think some of the repercussions of what happens at the end of this film are going to tie directly into Infinity War, especially since that just got its release date pushed up a week. So now it's coming late April instead of early May. It's
funny because I didn't get a chance to see it, and mainly because just children, scheduling, trying to find somebody to watch them. Like literally, I'd have to have my wife stay home with my daughter, and me and my son will go. One of those type of things because my kids are young, so I can't take them in the theater. I don't want to spoil it for other people. But I definitely want to see it. I'm excited about seeing it. I keep hearing great things about it. I know this is obviously we haven't started the show yet. We're kind of stalling for time, waiting for Anchor and B Money to get in here. Sure. But listen, I just got to say that my understanding is that the way the film ended was on a good note, but also on a note where it could possibly cause problems. So, you get a chance, you're surfing YouTube and you bump into these things. And one of the things that somebody had brought up in a feed was, what would be the perfect way to introduce the next villain for Black Panther? And how that universe now actually focuses on Black Panther, sort of a passing of the torch from, let's say, like the original Avengers to the next set of Avengers, which will probably
it's clear that T'Challa is going to be one of the forerunners in the
the next group,
next rank.
So they talked about Namor, Prince Namor. Where it could be a civil war. I won't say civil war, but it could be a war between Atlantis and Wakanda, which was something that took place in the comics. And that way you'd be introducing Prince Namor to the MCU. The other thing they talked about was the Super Skrull invasion, where, most of the Marvel universe is pretty much taken over by Skrulls. And the only place they can invade is Wakanda because Wakanda's technology and skill is so great that they can't get in. And then the other thing was, I think the other one was, Doom. Doom comes, takes all the vibranium and creates this Doom super suit. And it's a battle between Doom, the Fantastic Four, and Black Panther, which I think honestly would probably be the best way to go. Not saying that Doom takes the vibranium, but it would be great to introduce the Fantastic Four through Black Panther. And here's why I say that, because
it'd be the opposite of his introduction of how he was introduced in the comics.
Sort of, but also at the same time, Fantastic Four movies have not done well. like they have not done well on their own. So I just feel like bringing them in as like, secondary heroes to help out, you know what I'm saying, within Wakanda, whatever, I think that would be really cool.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think whatever they do is seriously going to depend on Infinity War, because like, this is not a spoiler, it's right there in the trailer. Thanos' army is invading Wakanda. It's right there in the trailer. It's obvious, and I have some extremely strong suspicions about something else that may be hidden in Wakanda, but I won't go there for sake of spoilers. So I think you're on the right track, but I think it seriously depends on what happens in Infinity War.
Right.
I just don't know how they're going to get Submariner to have a war with Wakanda, because Wakanda.
Well, what they said was, being that apparently, obviously, this has gotten out. Again, I haven't seen the movie. I don't want to talk about spoilers, but if you've seen the movie, you know how Killmonger dies at the end and what he says.
Spoiler! You dick.
So, I don't think that's a spoiler. I think most people know that.
Is a spoiler.
I don't know, man. I don't think so. Listen, this thing has made almost $1 billion. I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it already, except me. But basically, it would be a thing where, Namor would receive the residual effects of what happened between those two in Wakanda. So I don't know. But anyway, let's get the show started, man. We got a lot to talk about tonight. I want to thank everybody for stopping in. Anchorman is here. Dire Wolf is here. B Money is not here yet. Hopefully he pops in. He could be at work coming home late. If not, no worries. We still have a Trinity in effect. So let's get this show going. Here we go. Welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast, the premier podcast for Xbox. I'm your host, KLYXKLL, with Anchorman V.
Hey, everybody.
Dire Wolf.
Hey there. How you doing?
And not with us right now, B Money 101, and we make up your new Inner Circle Podcast. So listen, 343 has been working on the Master Chief Collection for 4 years. This is like the longest, patch in the history of video games. I feel like they have tried their best to fix this thing, and with the addition of the Xbox One X, I've heard they've gone back and really have been able to adjust and fix a lot of things within it because of the new hardware. I wonder if that's a detriment to the original Xbox, because it might not just have had enough memory, bandwidth, or power to handle whatever it needed to be updated to handle whatever it needed to handle. So that way people were able to play online or didn't have bugs or whatever. But this new update has given the Xbox One version of the Master Chief Collection an Xbox One X enhancement, which supposedly improves upon what they already have on the, upgraded, remastered versions of the game. And I just got to say, man, 343, you want to talk about a studio that is, how do you say, dedicated to their base, that supports their base, that really tries to make their base happy, even 4 years later. I think they've done a spectacular job and a wonderful job with what they've been doing, and people should look forward to what they have next with the next Halo. What do you think of, Microsoft Studios continuing to support their games years and years down the line, even though they may not be up to par at release?
Well, I think first off, there's no other way to put this. I think they know with the release of the Master Chief Collection that they done goofed. There's just no other way to put it. They messed up, and the launch went down in infamy. We're all aware of everything that happened there. So they're taking the right approach of saying, hey, years down the line, we're still going to get this right. We're going to fix it. It's going to be better than ever. It's going to be that definitive first few Halo games experience that we always wanted it to be, and better now, thanks to the Xbox One X enhancements, which haven't rolled out yet, but will be rolling out very soon. They're in beta testing right now. They're being very open. Frank O'Connor and others at 343 are talking to people on Twitter and on the Reset Era forums, asking them, hey, what kind of extra features would you be interested in? If you could only have one major improvement, what would it be? Apart from the things we've listed already, things like that. They've even made it clear that they're aware that people are interested in a Windows 10 version, which makes me think that maybe if the rumors are true and Halo 6 doesn't launch this year, but it launches next year, maybe we're going to see an Xbox Play Anywhere update to the Master Chief Collection, which would be fantastic in time with it, because it makes sense in time with all these fixes, so it becomes the definitive Halo experience. You open it up to all those people on Windows 10 PCs, you unify the player base, make it bigger and stronger than ever, and get that going to help prep the marketing road for Halo 6. Maybe that happens, maybe it doesn't, but regardless, I think they've done a fantastic job in coming back to address the issue since they didn't get it right the first time.
Mm.
Oh, and I just want to point out Edge XL, Chico Edge of Tick in the chat says that they should relaunch it and put it on Game Pass. I think he's absolutely correct that it will be put on Game Pass once the fixes are definitive. That's
every Xbox game is going over to Game Pass. Even though everything that's already released, it's already going to be on there.
Right. You know, we always talk about what Microsoft needs to do as far as producing more exclusive content, new IPs, whether it's timed or whether it's exclusive, whether it's, Play Anywhere exclusive. But Microsoft continues to try to put as much quality as they can into their mainstay flagships. And I stopped playing. I think me and my boy, we played Master Chief Collection and we beat Halo 1. We started Halo 2, but we stopped playing Halo 2 for some reason. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was a glitch or it was something, but we stopped playing it. And, just to think that 343 is still working on this game, adding enhancements for Xbox One X, they didn't have to. They didn't have to do that. But allowing them to do that, allowing them to put Master Chief Collection on Game Pass, if it does go to Game Pass, which I believe it will, I think it's smart. And it's also huge because you always have these people that talk about Halo, that it's bad or it's not good or it's just a guy in a mech suit or he's a mech. Like, people don't even know like the lore of Halo or who Master Chief is or why he's in the suit or what the suit is or how it pertains to anything. And if you give people an opportunity to play the first 4 titles through Game Pass for $10, I think that is huge, because then you open a door to a lot of new people who may want to try Halo 5, want to pick up Halo 6, and look forward to whatever they're producing in the future with at 343 with the Halo franchise. But 343's got to get Halo 6 right. Without question, they have to get it right. I think they're trying to get Master Chief Collection right. They've supported the multiplayer for Halo 5 the way it should be supported. They've had multiple tournaments, multiple winners. This thing has been running, even though it's sort of died down. Like, you don't hear much about it. It's happening. It's still going on.
It's been very well supported. Yes.
Yeah, it's been very well supported. So it just goes to show that a lot of people feel like the Halo base is dying down. I don't think it's dying down. I think that the diehards are still there, and it's still enough to make it profitable, and that's obvious. I think allowing Master Chief Collection to be on Game Pass and fixing it, especially if you have the Xbox One X edition, and enhancing it, will really open the door to a lot of fresh people that may bring in more install base and more people interested in Halo going forward, and allow them to pick up the next set of Halos and be interested in a new Halo when that releases. Probably, I want to say next gen. To be honest with you, I don't think Halo. I don't think Halo's coming out this year. Oh no, you're right. No, Halo comes out at the end of the year. It's Gears that might come out on the next.
Gears
console.
is yeah.
Gears will be the launch title for next gen.
Yeah, Halo closes this gen. Gears opens it.
Right. There you go. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know exactly what the future pertains but I will tip my hat to 343 and tip my hat to that team for all the hard work that they've been putting out, because I think they've been doing a solid job, and they just don't get enough credit for what they've been doing over the last couple of years. Absolutely.
No, they don't quite get some credit. I mean, look, they made mistakes. That is obvious with the Master Chief Collection. They made some mistakes, but it was an unprecedented venture, and props to them for trying to finish it. And speaking of Halo 5, it's interesting that you bring up a lot of people think, I believe, that it tended to do a lot worse than it actually did. Michael Pachter, a big financial advisor, he's a big analyst in the video games industry. He has an interesting track record of his predictions, but his information about things that have happened is absolutely solid. And he talked about a few months ago, I actually wrote about this, and he said that when he talked to 343 Industries, that Halo 5 sold on par with every other Halo title, and that because of the free content updates instead of the map packs, more people were playing Halo 5 6 months out than any of the other games.
I know for a fact Halo is probably around 7 million sold.
Oh, I would put it higher than that. I'm thinking more like 9 or 10, actually. Because Frank O'Connor confirmed back on NeoGAF, back when NeoGAF was still a thing, that it sold 5 million in the first 3 months.
Right. We got that.
First 3 months, 5 million. I have trouble believing it would only sell 2 million in the years after that. I think by now it's easily 9 to 10.
I don't know. That's
and not just that, but Halo 5's on Game Pass.
Well, there's that too. Now, that's not going to aid the sales, but that does aid the pop. Well, actually, it would aid the sales in the sense that people can purchase it for a discounted rate. So it's going to aid. Yeah, actually, you're right, Anchor. I'm sorry. That's going to aid the sales and the population. That's going to aid the sales and the population. You're absolutely right.
Listen. If it is at that number, that's an amazing astronomical number. If I'm Eric Greenberg, I'm shouting that number from the rooftops. I don't know why. It wouldn't. You sold 9 million on Halo 5? Whew.
It's a 3-year-old game, though. Like, why would you brag about a 3-year-old game?
And because
there's no need to brag.
Look at the fact that it took Frank saying it in a post on NeoGAF to confirm it sold 5 million in 3 months. That's a huge marker. But this entire gen, Microsoft hasn't been that open about sales numbers. They haven't. That's just even when it was successful.
The thing is, though, is that a lot of Microsoft games this generation, the biggest gripe that people feel with Xbox this generation is that they haven't had an impactful game like a Halo or a Gears in the first 2 generations. A lot of people felt Quantum Break was going to be that game. I know Direwolf loves Quantum Break. For me, it's a solid game. Obviously, it can be better, but it just wasn't it. In each instance, they put out really great games. It's not to say they haven't put out. It's not to say they haven't put out good titles. They've put out good titles, but they haven't put out anything as far as new that has been a classic. Like Forza Horizon isn't a new franchise, but the Forza Horizon series has 2 classic racers, and Forza Horizon 2 and Forza Horizon 3. Forza Horizon 3 probably being, by some standards, the greatest racing game of all time. Then, or the other instance, you got Gears of War 4, which, I want to say came out, it was critically rated well. 80, I think it's like 84, 85 on Metacritic or whatever.
And critics have been a lot harsher this gen. That needs to be pointed out. 9s and 10s are not handed out with the abundance that they were in the 360 PS3.
I'm not sure about that. Because they've been giving out 10s to like what, Metal Gear Solid 5.
Come on,
10s everywhere. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Horizon Zero Dawn has an 88 on Metacritic.
Oh, you're talking about 9s and 10s in general.
Yeah, they have not been handed out with the same abundance this gen.
I bet I could find a couple.
Well, either way, I think people are trying to find the holy grail for Microsoft and for Xbox, where they can produce a possibly new franchise that is on the level of a Halo. on the level of a Gears of War, on the level of a Forza Horizon. People still look forward to Forza Horizon. I mean, I've seen people to this year say, man, I can't wait. If Forza Horizon is just Japan, I can't wait to pick this game up.
I'd argue
this game,
Forza Horizon has eclipsed Forza Motorsport.
Absolutely.
I would say so too.
I 100% agree.
Motorsport is garbage compared to Horizon.
Motorsport,
Horizon gets people who don't even like racing games involved. Like that's
it's
the thing.
Because
like me.
Same.
I play Horizon. You know what it is? It gives you a sense of. It feels like an RPG, honestly. And what I mean by that is, it's like I remember playing it recently and being like really hooked for like a good 2 days, and just driving around and accomplishing every little thing that was on the map, knocking down this sign and racing this person and getting this time and chasing down this person and racing them to recruit them into my stable of racers, and then opening up a new Horizon event in this area. Like, that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really felt like you was accomplishing something, that you weren't just a driver, that you were building an organization and finding the best racers in the game. That you have radio stations and sponsors. It was really, really cool, well thought out, and I just thought it was genius. And I think that's why it's such a classic game, because you're not just driving, you're doing more than driving, and it feels like a real game, like as if Forza Horizon had a story. Like it had a story mode to it. You know what I'm saying? Like a campaign, and that's pretty cool. So I think that's why the game gets looked at the way it does. But yeah, Motorsport, for the car enthusiasts, it just doesn't seem like it is progressing in a way that it needs to. I think it's become stagnant. I feel like it needs a break. But, Microsoft won't put a break on it.
I agree. I think that's not to say it's bad. I mean, Forza Motorsport 6 got an 86, and even then, that 86 Metacritic is with the microtransaction nonsense that people believed about it, which wasn't true, and that still gets me mad, but whatever, it's in the past at this point. But so, even with that, it's still a strong game. It's just, I fear Motorsport, I think you're absolutely right, it's stagnant, not because it's not good. It's great for what it is. It's a fantastic circuit racer that I would say has eclipsed GT. But the problem is there's nowhere left to go. All they can do is make it prettier. The game itself is as perfect as it's going to get. And so I think you're absolutely right. I think they need to give it a break.
I know how you could fix Motorsport. I'm pretty sure this is something that barely anyone's actually talked about. Make it a driver-focused RPG where your character... You treat it like you actually give it a campaign like 2K, where you're just this young upstart driver. You want to get into the circuit. You get picked up by this random sponsor, and you get into the whole thing. And you start racing, and you have to build up your skills a little bit. But you got to prove yourself on the low end circuits so you can get up to the high end stuff. It started off that way, and actually have it be you're actually forced, okay, you'll have segments where you have to walk around in first person, and okay, you got to go to this the stock video. If you actually had a campaign that gave you an actual story, I think people would be fine with a closed circuit racer, and people would actually start getting involved. The way it is now is fine. The way it is now is fine, but it could be a lot better. If there was an actual story behind it, at least in terms of having a campaign. And have it be okay, maybe you have to do multiple campaigns. What's that?
Oh, my bad. Hold on.
It's okay.
Not a bad soundtrack, but still.
I mean, hey, it's up to you, man. I'm not going to judge.
But no, Anchor, I think you're absolutely right. I think that would be perfect. I think Turn 10, if they're not going to do a new IP, and let's be realistic, I think of the three main studios, that Turn 10 is the least likely to do a new IP, then take another year, maybe 2 even, have a 4-year dev cycle if need be, and flesh out an RPG style story and progression. I think you're absolutely right.
I mean, because graphics are cool, graphics are fine, but these are incremental now, just a little bit better.
Right.
You're looking at it that way. It's
That was already a 4K 60 showpiece for Scorpio, or for the Xbox One X, rather. What's the next one? 4.4K? 4.8? It's, it doesn't work. You got to have a big improvement from here on out.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on. I had a discussion. I had an epiphany, shall I say, on Twitter. And I had this epiphany because what wound up happening was I've been playing Assassin's Creed Origin, and obviously we heard that they had changed it to an RPG style type title. And when I first started the game, I felt like, oh my God, it's going to be another chore initially. Because I remember playing Black Flag and getting about halfway through and just completely abandoning the game because I just was like, man, this is just like me doing the same stuff over and over and over again, to a point that it just really got boring. And when I started playing Assassin's Creed, I'm like, man, I hope it's not like this. So, you open up the first level, it opens up with this crazy opening right into the middle of a battle and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, it's cool. And I'm starting to lose interest, and I'm pushing myself to play. And finally, the kind of world opens up the first level. Then I get to the next area, and I'm just like, yo, this is really good. This is really getting good. And as you progress through the game and it starts to give you XP, you start to see levels, soldiers with levels, who you want to fight, who you probably shouldn't fight. As you progress through the game and you start getting different items and weapons and gear, I'm just like, yo, this is a completely different experience from any Assassin's Creed I've ever played. And literally, I've been hooked playing this game. I've been doing side quest after side quests and finding all these question marks and collecting all these weapons and trying to get, gold, rare, legendary items and stuff and build my guy up. I just recently got this, Final Fantasy crossover where I got this Final Fantasy shield, Final Fantasy sword, and like this camel that's a chocobo, which kind of pissed me off because the damn thing is still slow. I was hoping it was a real chocobo, but it wasn't. Anyway,
I know, right? That's what I was hoping for.
I was like, I thought it was a real chocobo at first, but it's just a camel.
I'm about to choke a camel.
So anyway, long story short.
Oh, that sounds like animal abuse.
After playing that, and of course, playing the amazing Monster Hunter, and then playing Mass Effect Andromeda, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but I actually really enjoyed. I realized that I really have changed in what I enjoy as far as RPGs are concerned. Growing up as a kid, you're a big Japanese RPG guy. You're playing Nintendo, you're playing PlayStation, you're playing Sega. And as those platforms, I guess you could say, started to kind of like weaken, over time, like Nintendo wasn't pumping out RPGs like that. They had lost the strength that they had at Super Nintendo once the PlayStation came out. The PlayStation became so dominant with the PS2 that really nothing could see the PS2. And you're stuck. You're playing Final Fantasies and you're playing Chrono Cross and playing all these cool RPGs and stuff like that and adventure games. And you're really into this Japanese style of playing. And as I cross over to 360, from the Xbox, and start playing my first Western RPGs, like, the Jade Empire and the Knights of the Old Republic. You have Baldur's Gate. A lot of PC titles were coming over, the Elder Scrolls series. And then with 360, you had Mass Effect. You had games like Deus Ex. Like, I realized that I really enjoy not grinding.
Yeah,
I really enjoy not grinding. I really enjoy the side quest options of, if you want to get XP and you want to get special items and weapons, you could do this side quest. I remember putting 200 hours into both Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII, and literally, trying to get the ultimate weapons for Final Fantasy VII, VIII, and 10. And the things that they made you do, like in 10 was insane. In Final Fantasy X, you had to ride a chocobo as Titus, right? This was like the final part. You had to ride a chocobo as Titus. And these seagulls would come from the bottom of a cliff and fly directly at you. And the chocobo couldn't turn. So that means you kind of had to lean the chocobo early. Like as soon as you seen the bird come up, you had to immediately go left or right. But you had to capture these balloons because your time would go forward. And capturing the balloons would give you negative time. You had to end the race at 0 seconds. Do you understand how difficult that was? Because every time you got hit by a seagull, it would increase the time. So you had to dodge seagull, collect the balloons, cross the finish line at 0 just to get your final ultimate weapon. And of course, I eventually did it, and I got everybody's ultimate weapon and stuff like that. But after playing a game like Monster Hunter, where I dropped into a group, I fought a tempered monster and got my tempered items and mastered my weapon in a matter of like less than 24 hours and maxed it out and like grinded it out without really grinding it out. I thought that was just amazing and I felt accomplished. And I really love Western RPGs because I love the choice. I love the fact that you can make decisions and they have an effect on what's happening. And I love the real-time aspect of things like Mass Effect and the Monster Hunter and Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, while still having, all of these items and armor and weapons. I just really realized that I prefer Western RPGs over Japanese RPGs. Now, it's not to say that I don't like.
Wrap up the show. It's over. We got it. We got him. Mission accomplished. It's over.
It's not to say that I don't like Japanese RPGs. It's not that. I just think I've grown out of them. I think that's what it is. I think I've grown out of and I love anime, but I refuse to buy anime designed RPGs. I don't know why. Like I just don't know why. Like if it's realistic.
So Code Vein is garbage?
I won't say Code Vein is garbage. I'm not saying Code Vein is garbage.
Code lame.
I'm gonna pick up Code Vein, but I don't
Someone
like to play.
The tick memes.
Like, for example, I'll probably pass on Valkyrie Chronicles, and I passed on Sword Art Online, Bullet, whatever. Like, I pass on those 2 games because, it's just, for me, it's not what I'm into right now. Now, I want more RPGs to come over, but I want more realistic stuff. Like, I want that, I know it's time, and I know it's going to come to Xbox, that, what's that game that the one dude is making, the indie developer? There's only one guy, and he's making a game that looks like Final Fantasy, but it's not. God, I always forget the name of this game. Soul something. Lost Soul or I can't remember the name of it. But it's hitting PlayStation first, and it's coming to Xbox. That game looks incredible. Absolutely amazing. And that's not to say that Persona 5 doesn't look amazing. I think it looks great, and I think it's probably a really cool game. And if it was on Xbox, I would try it. But again, I need, for me, coming from the Japanese side, I need stuff that looks more realistic, like the Scale Bounds, like the Final Fantasies, at least in the art direction.
Right.
Why'd you got to mention Scalebound like that?
I know I missed it.
Pour one out.
What do you guys think?
I think you sort of hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's a couple of different factors. Final Fantasy 15 was my entry point into the Final Fantasy series. And so as a result of that, I was talking with a few different people, including B-Money, about it. And I think one of the reasons that I was able to get into it is because even though it's still a JRPG, it's still a Japanese game, exceedingly so in some ways, it's been westernized a bit. There's a bit of Western DNA in there. The design has been tempered just a little bit, enough to make it palatable to people like me who grew up entirely on a diet of Western RPGs like KOTOR or Mass Effect or Dragon Age or anything like that. And it's the same with the newest Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World is an exceedingly Japanese game, but certain elements have been toned down just a little bit, enough to make it palatable to a Western audience. And I don't think I'm alone in that, because both of those games have sold and are selling extremely well on Xbox. Right. So I'm definitely not alone in this, and I don't think you are either, Cal, in seeing that. And I think certain Japanese developers are beginning to realize that as well. Right.
Now, I still think that Xbox needs JRPGs because it brings diversity, and it's a genre that they sorely need, and they've been doing a good job of that. I know Yeez is coming to Xbox. I know that we're getting Shining Resonance is coming to Xbox. You got Code Vein coming to Xbox. You got Valkyrie Chronicles coming to Xbox.
Black Desert Online.
Black Desert. Those are games I would never expect to hit Xbox.
No.
Now Black Desert is the
Japan
game.
Evidently had some results.
Right. And so those coming to Xbox is a big deal, and I'm actually excited to see those on there. I'll have to look at those games and make my decision on what I want to get. But Black Desert is definitely on my list. That game looks gorgeous, and I heard it's just past 3 million people. 3 million, 3 million people online with that game on PC in North America and in the West and in the East. So that's a big deal. I can't wait for that to hit Xbox. I think that'll blow up on Xbox as well when that drops sometime this spring, apparently. So we'll see how that turns out, man. But yeah, man, I think I look at Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. I don't like Fallout. I know Anchor likes Fallout, but Fallout's very successful. Anthem, Destiny. These are a lot of Western RPGs, man, that they are traditional, but they have a lot of RPG elements to them, and a lot of appeal, a lot of action, and I just really am feeling them lately. I just really am, man. I just haven't really been into, like, I will see a new JRPG and just be like, okay. This is crazy.
Sorry. I was disconnected a little earlier. Sorry about that.
So listen, let's move on, because I want to try to do a Q&A if we possibly can before the night is up. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate the support and the share out to your feeds and social media spaces. We're going to talk about this Xbox Game Pass, man, because I just bought this thing for my son. And I'm going to say something that Anchor's going to laugh at, but he's in love with Fusion Frenzy.
Yes! It's over.
It's coming up Anchor tonight.
I know. Code Lame admitted. Fusion Frenzy.
My son loves Fusion Frenzy. He's like, I want to play the game with the tanks and stuff like that. And he doesn't even care if he's losing. I'm like, Liam, you're not doing it right. Do this. Then no. Give me the controller, Daddy. Give me the controller. All right, here. He doesn't care if he gets punched in the face, he gets knocked off. He just loves. I think he thinks he's playing with other people because of the other robot companions and stuff like that. But he got knocked, but he doesn't care. He's having a ball. And he had purchased Super Lucky Tail, which I had to get a refund on because he wasn't supposed to buy that. But being that it hit the Game Pass, I went ahead and got him Game Pass and gave it to him, but unfortunately for him, it's difficult because he doesn't know how to read yet. He's only in pre-K and he's just, doing his ABCs and stuff like that. So there's a lot of dialogue. Motivation. Yeah, no, definitely. I told him, I said, you got to learn how to read, kid. You got to recognize these words because he doesn't know what to do. Like, it's a lot of tutorials in that game that's teaching you how to play, and he doesn't know what he's doing. So it's kind of difficult for him. But I found that really cool.
But no, Daddy, I got this.
Yeah, no, I found it really cool that he was playing Fusion Frenzy and was really having a blast playing that. And of course, he loves his Lego games, his Marvel, his Jurassic Park, and stuff like that. So Microsoft is doing pretty good with this Game Pass, dropping. What did they drop recently? What was the new releases they put on there, Sam?
So the last update added Super Lucky's Tale. Hold on, let me just pull up the actual list so I don't have to pull them all from memory. But it added Super Lucky's Tale. It added Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a really big one. And I found it interesting that Rise of the Tomb Raider was added instead of the first one, or not alongside the first one. But I'm guessing that's because they have some pull because they published it on Xbox. So I'm guessing that's what's going on there, is they have the ability to do it due to their relationship with Square Enix that they published Rise of the Tomb Raider. Also, Resident Evil Revelations 2, Oxenfree, Sonic CD, The Final Station, Eurofishing, and then Sea of Thieves is going to drop on Game Pass in 17 days when it launches.
Listen, if you haven't played any of these games, I think that Game Pass just made it worth it. Honestly, Rise of the Tomb Raider is an amazing game. It really is. I mean, I played it. I enjoyed it. Graphically, it was beautiful. The action was amazing. You know me. I love stealth games. So, hitting somebody with a bow. I think that's maybe probably one of the reasons why I like Assassin's Creed so much, because I literally snipe everybody with my Predator bow and just drop them. Like one of the combos that I do is like I'll snipe somebody with the bow. Everybody will be startled. Then I'll assassinate one guy, and then there's a perk where if you assassinate somebody and press Y, you can throw a dagger at another person and kill them. Then I take out 3 people in like 3 seconds. It's pretty dope. But yeah, man, like Tomb Raider's on there. You got Super Lucky Tale, which is I think a solid platformer. It's got a bad rep when it came to critics, but on Xbox it's rated pretty well. It's like 4 stars.
It has a bad rep with critics because it came out within the same 2 weeks as another platformer called Super Mario Odyssey. So it was bound to get critically slaughtered.
Which was overrated as hell.
Ooh, spicy. Nice and spicy.
Nah, seriously though, I played Super Mario Odyssey and I was like, all right, cool, I guess. And it just did not feel like it was its own. Like it was really living up to it. Like it was. I know it was not supposed to be it was not supposed to be like a mainline Mario kind of game, but still, man, like it was like, oh, we got this gimmick of you being a demon and possessing innocent creatures.
yeah. The fact that evidently Mario is an eldritch creature.
So that was it. And like for me, I was like, okay, that's cool. But I didn't really feel like they really took advantage of it.
That's hilarious.
It felt kind of short.
It's funny that you guys brought up the Switch in a way. I was in GameStop getting because I thought for some reason I thought Microsoft had these like Game Pass cards that you could purchase.
They're going to.
They don't.
They're going to.
Well, currently they don't. So I wound up going to GameStop and buying a little $10 code or whatever. To put on my son's account. And, after the guy tried to hustle me on some Game Informer magazines, and I abandoned that quickly, I went over to the demo of the Switch, and me and him played, what's the boxing game called again?
Oh, Arms.
Arms. Listen, you should have seen, first of all, me and my son, I'm like, hey, you take the controller. The controller that he had actually was attached with the Joy-Cons. And I had the ones that wasn't attached without the Joy-Cons, right? So we're getting ready to fight. He sees me with the Joy-Cons and my arms all loose. He's like, hey, I want those. I'm like, nah, kid, you stay over there. You got to work your way up to, you know what I'm saying? Every Joy-Cons, So he's mad. So we get into the match. This kid kicks my ass playing this game because he's on the controller.
Give me those controllers.
So I guess the controller scheme, like what is the controller, is different from when it's the Joy-Con, and I can't move. Like I'm like, how do you move? I'm using the sticks. Nah, you got to move left. You got to move your hands left and right. I'm just learning that. I'm moving my hands back, the block, and I'm just learning this. And he has this guy that throws like one punch has three gloves on it, and he's kicking my butt, bro. And so I lose the first round. He's laughing at me. Imagine how you feel to be laughed at by a 5-year-old kid when you honestly lose. Like, you know how sometimes you play with a kid and you let them win? No, he really won. So I get hot. So I'm like, I just lost to a 5-year-old kid. I'm going to kick his ass in the next round, right? So the next round starts. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I jump in the air and I can't punch. I'm like, why can't I throw a punch? And I'm throwing punches. And as I'm throwing punches, he's moving left and he's hitting me. And I'm stuck in the corner, bro. And I just get cheese. You know how it is. Kids spam that one button. I can't get up. I can't block. And I lose again. And he's just dying. And he really enjoyed himself playing Switch. And I'm like, I got to get this kid a Switch. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've never seen him have like this happy on the Switch. Because all I hear him upstairs on the Xbox is screaming and crying. Like that's all I hear upstairs. Because he's constantly frustrated with whatever he's playing. You know what I'm saying? But the Switch just seemed easy for him to play, which was funny. So, oh man, that was
honestly though, as a person who has a Switch right now, I would not buy it until Smash Bros. Comes out. Like, I really yeah, there's Legend of Zelda and yeah, there's Mario, but like, okay, because I gotta. Here's my situation. I got someone at work. They have a kid who's like, I think 8, and so they're trying to keep him on the Wii U, and so I keep suggesting games for them to get to keep him on the Wii U in the meantime. And so the thing is with him though, it's like, oh, should we upgrade to the Switch right now? And I'm sitting here generally thinking like, really no, like because a lot of the games that are coming out right now are, well, Wii U games. And if you already have a Wii U, there's kind of no point right now. And yeah, there's a handful of games right now for the Switch, and that's kind of it. But we're also a year into the cycle here. And I mean, there's games that are going to be coming out clearly, but we got to wait for those a little bit. Right. So I mean, for me, like I have not touched my Switch, and I will not touch it till Kirby comes out. That's it. So
well, I just bought my son Game Pass, and his grandmother just put $30 on it, so he's good for 4 months. So he's not getting any console anytime soon. But I definitely will consider getting him a Switch in the future, probably next year or something like that, if he's good. Yeah, man. So Game Pass is shaping up to be a pretty good deal. I think if they continue to add games of the quality of, Resident Evil Revelations, what is it? Revelations 2, Tomb Raider.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. You put Revelations 2 on there, you got Tomb Raider on there, you got Super Lucky Tail hitting that, you got a few good indies on there, like not the last station. What's that game called? It's an indie game.
The Final Station.
The Final Station, which is actually a really good indie game. And then you got Sea of Thieves coming out at the end of the month. If they could do that every month and put 3 or 4 really top quality AAA titles on there, they really have something going. Because some people may just wait. Now, the thing is timing. It's all about timing. Now, Tomb Raider is almost 2 years old? That's an old ass game.
Well, Tomb Raider is actually 3 years old.
It'll be 3 years old. Remember?
Yeah. So 3 years old.
Came out near Halo and Fallout. So
right. So you're talking about a 3-year-old game. They need to be able to have games that come out at least within 12 months. And
I'm not sure about that. I think a good strategy for them, especially if you're working third-party publishers and you're trying to get them involved. Like, if I were a third-party publisher, I would not even remotely consider this until after a year.
That's what I said, 12 months.
No, you said within 12 months. I think it's got to be
12 months. You got to put it. If they're able to find a third-party publisher that has a title out, like I heard Marvel vs. Capcom is going to be on there. Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Well, Marvel vs. Capcom has a really bad community, so not surprising.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that game. Like, be honest with you, a game like Marvel vs. Capcom could be revived on Xbox through Game Pass. Because
we were talking about this earlier in the party before you left. We were saying, what game would it be? Well, we use a different situation, but this would be the same general principle. If you had If Lawbreakers came to Xbox and they put it only on Game Pass, or they made it a Games with Gold game, that could revive that game. But they got to do some other stuff too, but that would help out a lot.
I just think that if they were able to put games on there from third party with, like, if Prey was to hit that, you know what I'm saying, after a year or whatever, how long it has left, Mass Effect and Andromeda goes on there. Some games that may have been big AAA titles that came out with mediocre reviews but are still good games. I think that would be great if they were able to get those games early, like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If Marvel vs. Capcom was it Infinite? I'm sorry, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. If Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite hits Game Pass like next month, wow.
I wouldn't be surprised because it's one of the few third-party games that just got Xbox Play Anywhere support. That's because of the population. They're like, okay, all right, Microsoft, we concede. Help us out.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You put that bad boy on Play Anywhere, that thing will blow up because You're going to have people that's going to access the game for $10. They no longer have to spend $60 on it. You know, if you're able to get something like Madden, could you imagine if Microsoft and EA would have worked together and they could get Madden on Game Pass? You know what I'm saying? Along with, like, right when it hits EA Access, it also hits Game Pass. How huge would that be?
That'd be crazy. That would take some work, but that'd be crazy.
Yeah, like, hey, when it hits Game Pass, can we get this also? When it hits EA Access, will we also get this on Game Pass? I mean, that might hurt EA's bottom dollar. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to get live or NHL, but maybe they can get FIFA and they can get Madden on there, which usually comes out, I think, about 8 months to 9 months after the release of. Normally, when the season is over, a couple of weeks after, they normally release the new title, on Game Pass. So I think it'd be really cool if they were able to somehow get some of those sports games on there. You really could entice people with that.
Yeah. I think if Microsoft is serious about this, I think we're going to hear some Game Pass news at E3. And I don't know if they'll be able to by this E3, but I'm wondering if they're going to be able to sign a major publisher on there. I don't know.
I think Bethesda. I genuinely think Bethesda is going to do something because with them, they have a lot of these really small titles that did not sell that as well as really they should have. And we look at Prey as an example because Prey didn't sell great, and it was a pretty damn good game. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time.
It was a fantastic game.
The fact it didn't sell that great is a concern. And so Bethesda, like, hey, maybe have a deal for like a year out. You can wait a year. You're in. But like again, I don't think it'll be like for every title. But I think maybe all the stuff that's like their publishing stuff, they might do it for that.
If Microsoft can get a deal with Telltale, the guys who make that, what's that girl game?
Life is Strange, you mean?
Yeah, Life is Strange. If you can get Life is Strange, all the Telltale series on there at launch, and you can get maybe the Hitman stuff on there at launch, most episodic content to launch on there day one on Game Pass as new releases, bro. That'd be nuts.
Microsoft Phil explicitly mentioned even this time last year that he saw Game Pass as an opportunity for episodic type content. So I absolutely think something like that could happen.
That would be huge. You know what I'm saying? Instead of worrying about big AAA titles, then you add your own AAA titles to that at launch, and you get older games that's about, let's say 14 months.
A year to 2 years old, yeah.
Yeah, about 14 to 15 months after release, they hit the platform. You really have something viable going. You really do have something viable going, and it becomes a real appealing proposition for Xbox gamers and parents out there who don't want to spend $60 on one game. I mean, that's really the biggest appeal. Me personally, I buy all my games, so it's not a big thing for me. But I already have $10 credit ready to go for Sea of Thieves. So I definitely want to try Sea of Thieves before I purchase it. I love the beta so far, but I want to see the full game and see what it's like. So I'm looking forward to that. Sam, did you want to discuss anything?
Well, speaking of Bethesda, some interesting stuff. Bethesda has confirmed that they are going to be having an E3 showing this year. And Pete Hines has
new
made
IP, I tell you.
Well, hang on, Anchor, just a moment here. Pete Hines has made abundantly clear they're not doing this, we're at E3 thing that they started in 2015 simply because they want to be at E3. He said, if we don't have the content to show, we will not do a showcase. So the fact that they're going to be there means they've got something big to show. And if you look at all their studios, most of them just released a game. In fact, all but
they blew their load. It's time for a new RPG, baby.
Oh my God! Look at this guy; he's just a psycho. Listen,
he's frothing at the mouth.
I know. Listen, what do they mean? They're going to be at E3 this year. Is it Bethesda at E3 every year?
Well, the last 3 years, right? Well, so it was 2015, 2016, 2017.
And I'd argue they have not had a bad show yet.
No,
they've had better shows Wait, whoa.
Last year was horrendous.
Calm
The new Colossus
here. No.
and Evil Within 2 both announced and then
Those
released.
were the best things that they announced, bro. They had nothing but a bunch of DLC. Yo,
And
when they had
Skyrim, the
Skyrim,
Outsider.
nah, I passed.
Three games, dude.
Nah, it was terrible. I was there, bro.
It wasn't their
I don't
best.
care if you were there.
I agree, it wasn't their best.
You were there physically, but I was there mentally and spiritually.
Oh my God, this guy's a maniac. Listen, it wasn't that good. It really wasn't. But the event was amazing.
It wasn't that good. It was great.
The event was amazing. The food was amazing. The networking was amazing, bro. You want to talk about bumping
how
people?
dare you go to Bethesda's house, eat their food, drink their wine, and badmouth them like this?
Hey, that's what Tick Podcast does, bro.
Everybody.
So I think we can agree. I think we can all agree that the main reason they're having a show is Bethesda Game Studios. Todd Howard,
it's their time.
Bless us all, is going to be there. However, there's something else I think that's going to happen. And if you look, it's very interesting. I wrote about it earlier today. The Prey Twitter account suddenly became active again. And they tweeted out this little clip saying, "Do you ever wonder what's really out there?" And it's a view from the game in the station, which is called TranStar. And it just slowly, creepily starts zooming in on the moon. And you can almost see these symbols that have been etched into the surface of the moon before it cuts to black. So I'm thinking that we're going to be getting a small standalone Prey title, sort of like Dishonored Death of the Outsider was, a $30, $40 follow-up game.
That'd be cool. I'm telling you, man, Bethesda Game Studios is out. They're coming. They're coming in hard.
We'll see. I'm still looking for that game he was talking about last year. Yeah, Starfield. That's what
it's coming, baby. It's coming.
We'll see. So, listen, man.
If it's Elder Scrolls this year, Starfield doesn't exist. But
we'll definitely see what's going. We'll definitely see what's happening. Before we head out, man, I just want to talk about Phil Spencer and his diversity and a tolerance, I guess you could say, speech that he had at the DICE event, which I thought was really cool. I thought that was a great speech, and I thought that it made a great appeal. Microsoft actually got an award for, I think, having one of the most tolerable and most diverse companies in the industry. I know a lot of people gripe about diversity, and it should be about the person who is the best at their job, regardless of color or gender. And I agree. I can't say I don't agree. I mean, why would I want somebody that's a 70, at their job when I can have somebody that's 100 at their job, clearly. But, you have different ideas sometimes with different people and different perspectives with different people. And sometimes people's backgrounds and where they're from do play a role in that because of the way they think. So that's why diversity is important. It's about finding people that are 100 in that diverse class that you want to bring in to your company to obviously make it better, not just anybody. So I thought that was really cool, man. But listen, the gaming community has not gotten less toxic. I don't know how Microsoft thinks they're going to combat this because it's just not something that's going to happen. But as a community, we obviously all have to do much, much better. And the only reason why I bring this up is because of my little spat that I had on Twitter with a PS4 gamer over something that wasn't even related to gaming. But it just goes to show you that sometimes people still can be intolerant and people can still be ignorant to history and to people's achievements and stuff like that. So, listen, man, always be open to other people, always be open to people's thoughts, regardless of where they're from and what they look like or what their religion is or what their political affiliation is. Just because it's different from yours doesn't mean that it's always wrong. And just because you may feel 100% differently doesn't mean that that person doesn't have a case for their own thoughts and opinions. So
unless they're hating on Bethesda.
You and this Bethesda. You need to work for Bethesda.
It is an objective fact. Bethesda is the best publisher.
I don't even understand.
It is an objective fact. According to Metacritic, Bethesda has the highest Metacritic rating that over all other publishers in 2017. It is an objective fact. Bethesda is better than your trash.
Did you hear what you just said?
Yes, I did.
That's like saying LeBron is the greatest of all time because he had 55 triple doubles in 2017 and he bet Michael Jordan. Like, what does that got to do as a company overall through its own legacy and history?
It has everything to do with it. You're only as good as your last accomplishment.
Well, they haven't had any accomplishments lately. Their last accomplishment was Fallout. How long ago was that?
That's not their last accomplishment, dude. As a publisher, they are the best.
Oh, Wolfenstein? I forgot.
Wolfenstein was last one.
They put out Prey, Wolfenstein, and The Evil Within 2 last year, all of which are phenomenal games. So
yeah, but Prey and Wolfenstein, Prey and The Evil Within weren't critically received well, and Wolfenstein was though. I'm not saying you have to put everything into. You don't have to put everything into the critics and ratings and stuff like that. But listen, we do base a lot of what we enjoy off our ratings. I'll tell you right now, you won't see me spending $60. Sorry, I had to cough. You won't see me spending $60 on a game that's rated a 30 overall. I'll tell you that much. So, let's not just throw everything out the window. Anyway, listen, that's it for the show this week. We're going to go ahead and try to knock out a Q&A real quick. So if you have any questions for us, any thoughts, any things you want to talk about, go ahead and put them in the chat right now. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. Once again, you can catch Tick Podcast next week, Saturday at 10 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I wouldn't want to give you a solid schedule anymore because we just pop in any time between 10 and 11 o'clock at this point. Still, I have to put out there that I'm actually delaying my channel. I'm still waiting on to build this PC before I get that started. I don't want to half-ass it. I don't want to just go out there and just put some content on there and just have people looking at it. I want to actually go full force when I launch it. So that's been delayed probably until next month, actually this month. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully it pops up soon because I know a lot of people have been asking me about it. And of course, tune in every week and catch all our shows on TIC Network. You can catch Multiverse on Mondays. You can catch Iron Lords on Sundays and 2XP on, I believe, Wednesdays. And we have a new podcast coming soon called the Phoenix Project Podcast. We are still in talks with that team. They're going to bring a different perspective and a different, I guess you can say, a different type of element to Tick Podcast. So to the Tick Network. So we'll see how that team finds its footing within the Tick Network program. And make sure you support us at ticgn.com because without the support there at that website, man, we can't accomplish a lot of the things that we try to accomplish. I want to thank everybody for supporting us at the website. Again, we're able to send a whole team to PAX. We're sending teams to E3 because of your viewership, your support, and you guys going there to get the latest news and information on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Nintendo Switch, anime, movies, and more. So thanks. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show for the MP3 crowd. We'll start the Q&A, and hopefully we can end the show before midnight. So I'm your host, KLRXKLL, with Anchorman V, my man Direwolf. Shout out to B Money 101, wherever you are. And we are off this planet. See you guys next week. Peace. All right. Listen, I want to thank everybody for stopping out, man. Big shout out to Patman Jones. Shout out to Edge XL, Chief Tommy, Xbox Junkie stopped there for a minute. Shout out to Junkie. Dope Gaming with Frog. Shout out to Frog, man. Appreciate you stopping in. Shadow Blade, thank you, brother, for stopping in. Let's see. Xbox Guy. Thank you, Xbox Guy, for stopping in. We appreciate your support. So yeah, man, go ahead, leave your questions, and we'll definitely try to answer them. Make sure you put a question mark on the back of your questions so that way I can catch them. All right, so the Xbox Guy asks, is the MCC collection enhanced now? Sam, you want to answer that?
No, it's not enhanced right now. The enhancements are in beta testing because they don't want to roll the enhancements out until they roll out all the other improvements. So they're currently in testing. It's slated to come out sometime in spring.
Gotcha. Edge XL asks Cal. I hate you so much. He asks, Cal, when you were sick this week, did you have a compulsion to eat human flesh? Because I saw that in a movie. No, I did not have the compulsion to eat human flesh. I actually, here's what's crazy. I woke up one morning, my ear was like ringing out of this world, and I had an ear infection. I went directly to the emergency room, got some amoxicillin, came home, popped 2 Tylenols, and woke up with my other ear infected. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, bro. How is that possible? You go to get one thing healed, and the other one is hurting and ringing now. Now I feel like I'm talking underwater. Like, you ever talk to yourself underwater and kind of hear yourself in your own head? That's what I hear right now. So it's tough. Trust me. The only benefit to this is that when my wife talks to me and I'm like, "Huh, what you say?" I don't get in trouble because I really can't hear her time. Not that I'm ignoring her as usual. That's funny. So let's see. Chief Tommy asks, y'all excited about Fable being an open world? Anchor, thoughts? Anchor, you there?
I can hear what you said. What?
Chief Tommy asks, are you excited for Fable 4 being an open world game?
I'm about as excited as every other open world game that comes out.
God, just slit your wrist already. Sam, Direwolf, what is your thoughts?
And Chief, I also asked a follow-up question if it'll be a next-gen title, so I'm just going to roll those into one question, if that's perfectly okay. I think we're all excited about rumors of a new Fable. You know, Tick had been on these rumors for a really long time, been on those suggestions, and I think the idea of an open-world Fable reboot that's closer to it, maybe a new IP than it is Fable, but with, you know, the Fable IP attached to it nonetheless, being done by Playground Games, that sounds incredible to me. And I absolutely think it's a next-gen game. I don't really think that's up for debate. I think maybe it'll also run on the Xbox One X, but the fact that they would have started development on this in 2017 means that they would be getting it done in 2020, and that's assuming there's no delays whatsoever. 2021 is probably even more realistic. So yeah, it's probably a next gen title or a cross gen at the very minimum. That's absolute minimum.
I agree. I think it is a next gen title. But you know, Microsoft said that the Xbox they don't believe in generations anymore. So the next console will be a new console. It's sort of the start of a new generation, but yeah, it will play on the Xbox One X. So there'll be 2 versions, one for the Xbox One X, probably in 4K or dynamic 4K, and then probably one that runs at 4K 60 on the next platform. And I think that it's going to be gorgeous. Be honest with you, I'm tired of open world games. Like, when I open up the map for
as you continue to play Assassin's Creed Origins.
I know. I was just going to say that. Listen. I remember looking at the map of Assassin's Creed for the first time and saying to myself, hey, this isn't bad. Nice. I could probably finish this game in like 2 or 3 days, right? I didn't realize that you had to hit the left trigger to zoom out, bro. The amount of blue on the screen was insane. It was complete insanity. I was like, there's no way. I hope most of this is desert because there's no way I'm going to play all these areas, bro. It is such a large map. It is so huge, and it's so much to do. Like right now, I'm in Memphis, and Memphis is beautiful, by the way. I love Memphis. It's just so bustling with
not
people.
Tennessee.
Well, obviously Memphis, Egypt. But listen, Mass Effect does a great job at objects on screen on the Xbox One X. The amount of people, the amount of things happening on screen, the water, I just don't know how they were able to accomplish it, and the world feels so realistic. It's just wonderfully done. My hat goes off to Ubisoft, who I think have really done an excellent job over the last couple of weeks. Over the last couple of years with their content, ever since the fiasco with Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, but I look forward to Fable 4. I hope that it's a reboot and not a restart from the original. I hope it's a new art direction. I don't mind them keeping the British humor if they want to, but I really hope that it takes on a more serious tone. It really makes it about loot, armor, weapons, magic. They have a large variety of enemies and lots of missions and side quests and stuff like that. I really do hope it's that type of title.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Gaming with Fraud asks, Anchor, man, ever think about being a guest on Planet Xbox? No.
Never invited me.
That is blasphemy. First of all, I'm the last of the Planet Xbox. Okay. So anybody want to score on Planet Xbox has to talk to me first and get approval. I think this is bogus. Nah, I'm just playing.
Ever gave me an invite? I
never got an invite.
To any invite. If anyone sends me an invite, I'll think about it.
The last of the Planet Xbox has not been invited to Planet Xbox podcast. How ironic is that? Oh man. Let me see here. Chief Tommy says, well, I think you answered that, right? Will the next Fable be next gen? Yeah.
I rolled that into the same question.
Mm-hmm. Zedpo1 asks, when is your next interview? Bro, I'm trying. I had a conversation with Craig Duncan. He was supposed to be in February. I sent the email out. I got no response. Like, I don't know. I didn't get a response. So I'm going to try to contact him personally via DM, see if we can set something up. It seems that when I go through Microsoft PR, they don't get back to me unless I contact my individual contacts, then they do the work for me. But I try not to rely on my individual contacts. Like, there's certain people that work at Microsoft's PR that I know personally that I can contact at any time to help me. But I don't want to rely on it all the time, because when I really need something, I want to be able to hit them up like, hey, can you get this done for me or whatever? So I'll just hit up Craig Duncan myself, because me and him, we follow each other and we DM often, and we'll see if we can set something up. But I feel kind of late now, because it's like all this content is out for Sea of Thieves. So I'm going to have to build my interview on something else. It'll be Sea of Thieves. I'll try to get some rare content in if possible, which is really what I want to talk about, Rare and what they're doing, and what their plans are as far as how to build off of the pre-success of and popularity of Sea of Thieves on their next project, and how do they take that encouragement into whatever their next project is. So hopefully we can get him on the show sometime this month or next month, before it gets closer to E3 and these guys get super busy. All of a sudden, everybody popped in with a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm. That worked.
Joe Sinister, thanks, Joe, for showing up. I appreciate you, brother, for stopping in. Joe asks, what do we think of the Vanquish 2 rumors? Are there any validity to them?
Bogus. Bogus, beyond bogus, beyond bogus. Look at the source. It's the same. This is the guy who's made his career off of making up fake rumors. It's not happening.
Yeah, I mean, of all the games you can get, don't get me wrong, Vanquish was a good game, but why go to Platinum and get Vanquish 2?
Exactly.
After having Scalebound canceled, why Vanquish 2? Why not just have them do a new game?
Yeah,
or reboot Scalebound or something, or reboot something. Like, why that game? I don't know. And that game is not going to be exclusive. It's going to be timed. So why even waste the money in the first place? Yeah, I don't believe it either. But you never know. You never know. But I doubt it. I'm with Sam on that. D21 exclusive asks, do you think Microsoft will permanently drop price of Xbox Live since Game Pass exists and Games with Gold games are getting worse?
Anchor, You got any thoughts?
I think it's more circumstantial, but I mean, a lot of this stuff I think is going to get reworked. I think I think this is going on a lot right now with everybody. I mean, PlayStation just did the same thing where they're saying, yeah, here have Bloodborne, here have Ratchet and Clank, but yeah, we're dropping PlayStation 3, we're dropping Vita games from now on from the service. And I think everyone right now is trying to rework their systems for this sort of thing. They're trying to figure out what's going to be a viable solution for a lot of this long term. And right. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work with Xbox, but I generally believe that what they'll end up doing is they're going to kind of try to rework Game Pass and Games with Gold and the Xbox Live subscription services. I think they're going to try to rework those around a little bit. Yeah, eventually, what I could see happening is maybe doing like a dual situation where it's like, okay, from now on, it's just Games Pass, but like new $15 a month or something like that if you want to have gold with it, or you could buy like Xbox Gold like for a year for $100 and you get Game Pass with it.
I absolutely think there is some sort of combo, slightly discounted.
Yeah, there will be a combo, I think, too. I think there'll probably be like a platinum tier, and you get Game Pass with it at some astronomical price, like $100. I think
$100 would be the max they'll do it for.
Yeah,
$100.
Well, it would technically be a $20 save. Well, no, Game Pass is $10 a month, but there's no yearly option.
That's a lot, though, if you think about it, because Live by itself is $60. So you're talking about adding $40 on a pass that costs.
No, because they're selling 6 months for $50, from what I'm told. Okay. You can't buy them like that, but like the supposed word on the street is that you're going to be able to buy 6 months for $50.
That's not bad, I guess. You save $10.
So you're saving a little bit, but you're getting the package deal.
Yeah, but you still got to include Live in that, which is $60 by itself. So
yeah,
I mean,
and so that's why if you did it that way, it's like it's not unheard of.
Yeah, I still feel like
by doing it that way, you don't get Games with Gold. You just get the online service and Game Pass. But I think Microsoft's going to go through a little bit of restructuring.
I don't know. I think
this process because I think having both is kind of redundant.
I feel like they should do something where they include Game Pass, EA Access. You get Games with Gold, Deals with Gold, and Live for like $200. I know that sounds astronomically high, but if you really think about everything you're getting, dude, you're getting like all the demos early, discounts, free games, Deals with Gold, EA Access, EA Games deals. You get all the Xbox exclusives the month they release. You get, third-party titles on Game Pass as well. Bro, like for the entire year, you really honestly don't have to play. You don't have to buy games unless you really want to buy them brand new. But it's such a huge thing. Like so many games you have access to right off the bat, especially if you're a new Xbox gamer. Wow, like that would be insane. Let's finish up. We have 2 more questions left. I want to get some people that just got their questions in at the last second or just popped in. Patman Jones asks, if Microsoft does get IPs from Sega, what do you think they are and what would you hope they are?
I know what I want.
Go ahead.
I know what I want too.
I don't think you'll like it.
Oh boy, here we go. Jesus Christ. I'm listening.
Alien Isolation, baby.
Actually, the Alien franchise is moving on from Sega, I heard recently.
Yeah, maybe. But if I had to pick, that's what I want them to get.
I wish we could get an Alien Isolation sequel. That's a shame.
Yeah.
What do you want?
It really is an excellent game. It really
is. It's a little too long, and that's it. It's a little too long. Yeah, they could have clipped a couple of hours off, and it would have been perfect as a horror game. But I will say this really quickly. I don't think there's any truth to the rumors. I think, if anything, Microsoft is just going to be getting some of those games that are exclusive because why? Kind of like Yakuza. Maybe they would get those as well.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most realistic
That's
thing,
huge,
assuming
actually.
something is happening with Sega. But I'll say this, if they were to purchase anything from Sega, here's what you purchase. You purchase Creative Assembly and you purchase the Total War IP. That way,
Agreed.
they get the relationship with Games Workshop. They can pump out Total War games and Warhammer games, which is awesome. And then they have a dedicated studio to do Halo Wars, one game a gen. There you go. Boom.
Oh my God, both of you guys! I just want to jump off a building. I hate RTS. I hate them. I really do. And I hate Alien. I hate horror games. I've never played Alien Isolation. You know what I want? I want Tales. No, I want Skies of Arcadia on Xbox. I would love for them to get Skies of Arcadia. I would love for them to get Otagi. And I would love for them to get a new Panzer Dragoon, like a real Panzer.
Panzer Dragoon and Otagi would be good. Yes, they would be good. But I'm saying if you can only make one purchase, it's Creative Assembly, dude. It's Creative Assembly.
I don't know.
Rescue that studio.
I don't know. All right. So before we get out of here, let's finish. I think we have one more question I wanted to get. Somebody had popped in at the last second. TF God. What up, TF God? What's good? TF God asks, what happened to the Black Panther spoiler cast? I guess that's for Anchorman.
Well, we're working on that. We'll see what happens. We wanted to give Fame an opportunity. He was doing a very special Black History Month podcast at the same time. They couldn't schedule it any other time, and so we didn't want to compete with that. So that's why we canceled the show last week. But we'll be back on Monday.
That podcast is what got this PlayStation guy all revved up, because he saw the title that it was like Black. I think Fame's title was 2XP, and it was like Black Nerd something on the rise. Basically, it's like Black nerd culture on the rise, and it was kind of like paying homage to Black History Month. And he had Chase Money on there, and I forget the girls, these African American podcast girls that are really big into the podcast scene and have their own thing. I think it's Black Gamer Girls or something like that, Black Gamer Girl Nerd, something like that. And this guy, he was like, he said his tweet was, he said, I guess I'll claim electricity and electronics. Because you know it's appropriated for white people, and y'all are the ones that started that. Now that was the tweet response to an auto tweet that came out from Fame's tweet, and I didn't understand it. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, so we're claiming inventions as, you know, cultural appropriation. That's what it was. He felt that, you know, discovery of electricity and electronics was a part of white culture. And I said, I don't think you understand what culture is, bro. Like, that's not cultural. Yeah. So we got into a big debate about that, and that sort of escalated, not so much on my end, more on his end, because he didn't like what I was saying and trying to correct him. But yeah, that was pretty funny. But obviously that rubbed the nerve with that. But listen, man, you know, Fame wanted to do his thing. He felt that he wanted to bring these people out and have recognition about how, and I agree, because in the, you know, the Black American community, it's sort of looked down upon to be into anime. At least back in the day, you were looked down upon like most nerds, like, dude, you into anime, you're punk, you weak. You know, in our community, it's real machismo. You a tough guy. Don't look at me. It's just one of those things. So when you are not that, people look at you as a weak individual or a suspect individual and can really approach you in a way that is, you know, can try to be intimidating or try to intimidate you. And you see the rise that has changed over the years of Black guys dressing up like Goku, and, you know, Black people going to conventions and, you know, doing cosplay and all this stuff like that. And it's really growing and getting bigger and bigger. And I think that's just because video games and anime have become even more mainstream, and you'd see people in minorities, people who are minorities and Black people in particular, not just playing sports games, not just playing Madden, not just playing 2K, but playing other RPGs and shooters and games like, Japanese RPGs and stuff like that. And that's growing and growing. And that's great, I think. You know what I'm saying? So I think Fame just wanted to touch on that, and some people didn't take it the right way. But that's just life. That's just how it is. And that's to be expected. All right. So let's finish up, man, because it's late. And I want to get Anchor out of here because I don't want Anchor to complain. Let me see here. Yeah, so listen, that's it, man. I want to thank everybody for stopping out. I really appreciate you guys once again for hanging out with us tonight. TF God, thanks for stopping in. Joe Sinister, thanks for stopping in. Undead, my brother, thank you for stopping in. Patman Jones, thanks for stopping in. Listen, we definitely be back next week with another episode for the premiere podcast for Xbox. Make sure you share with all your friends. Make sure you check out ticgn.com and support those guys and support us. That is the best way you could support us, is through the website. Obviously, we don't look for donations or anything like that. So definitely help us out and support us through the website, because that helps us get to all the events and things like that we go to. And we greatly appreciate your support in that regard. And make sure, if you want to follow us for Xbox news, or you want to chat with me, follow TIC_podcast on Twitter. That's TIC_podcast on Twitter. If you want to chat with Direwolf, or if you want to, have conversations with us on Facebook, follow us at the Inner Circle Games Network on Facebook. We have 10,000 likes on that page, 10,000 followers on that page. So make sure you go ahead and follow us there, and you can catch us on Facebook as well. And of course, if you want to talk with Anchorman V about the latest in comic books, video games, Fallout, movies, you can follow Multiverse at Multiverse on Twitter, or at Anchorman V2, I believe it is, right, Ank? Or is it just regular Anchorman V?
It's Anchorman V2, like it's always been. Just you always end up saying Anchorman V. I got tired of correcting you.
Hey, that's all I know you as, bro. I don't know who this 2 person is, okay? That's not my problem, son. I only know Anchorman V. So make sure you follow Anchorman V. And if you want to follow me individually, you can follow me at Lynn Rules the World, with a DA, not a THE. At Lynn Rules the World on Twitter. And of course, all our GTs, Anchorman V, KLWarX, Kal-El, and Sam, what is yours? Direwolf with some numbers, right?
Direwolf with some numbers.
My gamer tag is Direwolf484. My Twitter handle is just Samuel Talbert. Real simple.
Yeah, there you go. For some apparent reason, and when he was saying 484, I started thinking about what's his name? Xbot. This is Xbox 448. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, oh, that's Direwolf and the 4s and those numbers. Yeah, so definitely follow us, man, and we will definitely support, chat, and hang out with you guys in all those avenues. So I'm your host, KLWarX Kal-El, with Anchorman V and Direwolf 48. Was it 484? I gotta get that number right. 484. And we are off this planet. Thank you guys for stopping out. Peace.